Okay, welcome again. This is Mr. Gee with a video that goes over the review for 4.6 quiz. This covers sections, I think, part of 4.4, 4.5, and 4.6. So we'll go ahead with questions number 1. First of all, there's two sides to the worksheet. There's questions 1, A through D, questions 2, A through D, and 3 and 4, both A through D. So it's kind of repetitive just to give you lots of practice doing these problems. So go ahead and get started. It says rewrite equations A and B as y in terms of x. Calculate a table of three ordered pairs and graph and label the lines for each equation on the coordinate plane. Find the slope and identify the y-intercept for equations C and D. Write the equations in slope-intercept form, graph and label the equations on the coordinate plane. So we haven't done any of these for a couple of weeks. So first of all, let's get this in y in terms of x. So we're going to take 3x and add it to each side. So that means that's gone. So now my equation is just 5y equals a negative 25 plus 3x. So we're going to divide each equation by 5. And we do that to every term. So my final equation is y equals, make sure if your slope and all your fractions can be reduced, that you reduce them to their lowest terms. So that'll be 3 over 5x. Negative 25 divided by 5 is a negative 5. So I have to get 3 values. Remember, if I'm doing a table of 3 values, I want to look at the denominator and choose multiples of the denominator. In this case, it's 5. So I'm going to choose 5. We always want to choose 0 to make sure we get the y-intercept, and then we're going to choose a negative 5. So I put this in my calculator. We know that this 3 times a negative 5 is a negative 15, and negative 15 divided by 5 is a negative 3. So that gives me a negative 3 minus 5. That will give me a negative 8. Put 0 in here. This whole thing becomes 0. 0 minus 5 is a negative 5. And then when I put, let's see, that should be a negative, and then it should be a positive. What I've done here. Now if I have 3 over 5 times 5, that's 15 divided by 5 is a positive 5. So 5, nope. That should be 3. So 3 minus 5 gives me negative 2. So my ordered pairs are negative 5, negative 8, 0 and negative 5, 5 and a negative 2. So we'll go over here and we're going to graph this equation here. So we will look at this, and I have negative 5 and 8. So negative 5, negative 8 would be down here. I have 0, negative 5, and then I have 5 and a negative 2. And so now we can check this by counting our slope. So it should go up 1, 2, 3 over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up 1, 2, 3 over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's a way that we can check it real quick to make sure that we've done the problem correctly. Now we'll go ahead and graph and label our equation. Alright, so there is the graph for problem number 1A. Okay, B is done the same way. You're going to end up with a table, end up with an equation in slope-intercept form, so make sure that you show me the equation, that you show me the table, and that you give me the correct line on your quiz. Now let's go down and look at problem C. So we know that this is x1, y1, that's x2, and y2. So we use this formula. Y2 is 3, y1 is a negative 5, and looking here that I subtract them. So 3 minus negative 5 is actually 3 plus 5, so that top number will be 8. And then now I look at the denominator. X2 is 3, X1 is 0, so that's 8 over 3 is my slope. My y-intercept is right here, so now I'm going to write this equation as y equals the slope, so that's 8 over 3 x, and my y-intercept's a -5. So there's the equation that matches a line for these 2 points. Let's go ahead and graph this one. Let's graph this in blue. So I'm going to graph the point 0, -5, and then I'm going to count up 8 over 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3. And that should also be the point 3 and 3. 3 and 3. So I know I've got that right in mind. I don't think I could count down 8 and over 3. Can I count up another 8? No, it also goes off the graph. So these are the only 2 points that I can use to graph. So let's go ahead and graph my line. So there's the equation for that, or the line for that equation. So that's B. And, oh, that's C, excuse me. And then this other one is A. So D is done the same way as C, and B is done the same way as A. So you'll write your equation in slope-intercept form, or in other words, y in terms of x. You'll pick denominators according, or numbers according to your denominator. Solve for the y, graph the ordered pair, and then on part C, you use the slope formula to find the slope. One of these points will be your y-intercept. Write your equation, and then graph it. Okay, let's I'll set up for the next 2 problems here. Let me turn that one off, turn that one on, and then we'll go ahead and clear our work here. So this is more in line with the last worksheet that we've done. Okay, it says rewrite equations A and B in slope-intercept form. List the y-intercept and the slope. Graph A and B by plotting the y-intercept and counting the slope. List 4 additional integer points found on the line. Find x and y intercepts and the slope for equations C and D. And then write each equation in slope-intercept form and graph and label each equation. So let's go ahead and do part A. So we have to get rid of the x term from here and move it over to here. So I'm going to add x to each side. So that is gone, and then we divide by the number in front of the y. So that will give me y equals, make sure you simplify all your fractions, so 1/3 x minus 5. So the slope is 1 over 3. The y-intercept is 0 and a -5. And most of you have been able to find out there's a little bit easier way to find these points. We know that the change in the x's, this is a +3, so how are the x's going to change? They're going to go up by 3 or down by 3, depending on which way you want to go. So we're going to go up by 3, so 0 plus 3 is 3, 3 plus 3 is 6, and 6 plus 3 is 9. Now on the y's, how the y's change, they go up by 1, so a -5 plus 1 is a -4, a -4 plus 1 is a -3, and a -3 plus 1 is a -2. So these are the ordered pairs that match this equation here. So we're going to go ahead and graph this. You can either use these or look at the line, but you use one to check the other. So I'm going to graph it using the equation. So I'm going to graph the y-intercept first. So there's a -5. So we start at a -5. Then I'm going to count up 1 over 3, up 1 over 3, up 1 over 3. And then I'm going to go reverse it by going down 1, and so that'll be a -1 and a -3, and so to the left a -3. So down 1 for a -1, to the left 3 for a -3, and then this gives me all these points now. I made a mistake there. So there's a line for the equation. Let's go ahead and graph that, and then we're going to check it. So there we go. So let's look at our points. I have 0, -5. I have 3, -4. I've got 6, -3, and I have 9, -2. So this line matches those set of points right there. So now on the quiz, that's going to be worth some points. Your graph here is going to be worth some points. Your M and your B will be worth some points, and then your graph will be worth some points. Now let's come down here and let's do C. We haven't done one of these for a while. Now remember, if we're finding the x-intercept, that's going to be some number. Y is going to be 0. If I'm finding the y-intercept, that will be some number, and the x is going to be 0. So let's go ahead and let y be 0 to find the or the x-intercept. So 14x plus 8, put the 0 in there, equals 56. So 14x equals 56. Divide by 14. So x equals 4. So my x-intercept is 4 and 0. Now let's find the y. I'm going to let x be 0. So 14 times 0 plus 8y equals 56. Now that's gone. So 8y equals 56. So y equals 7. So my x-intercept is 4 and 0. So 4 on the x, 0 on the y, and my y-intercept is 7, 0 on the x, and 7 on the y. So there's how that line's going to go. So go ahead and graph my line. So there's the x-intercept, there's the y-intercept, and then there's my line. So this is line C. This is line A. Okay, so now we have to write our slope here. Now let's change in y's. So if I start at 0 and I go up 7, that's a positive step 7. If I start at 4 and go down to 0, that's a -4. So my slope is 7 over -4. And here we can look at it and count it. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's down 7. And then to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4. So is a -7 over 4 the same as +7 over -4? Yeah, but it slopes right down here. So that's a brief review on the quiz. Problems 3 and 4 are the same types as 1 and 2. And so that review worksheet will be due on Monday, and then we will be taking the quiz on Monday. So I'll post this video online. We'll also watch it in class today, and it will be online that you can use for your review for the weekend. Thanks for tuning in, and have a good afternoon.